Is Kamala Harris an occultic witch? Now, before I begin, I am not condemning Kamala Harris in any way. In fact, I feel bad for Kamala Harris, and it's likely that it wasn't even her choice to be involved in the occult. It's not very many people's choices when they get dragged into these occultic things. But I think it's important that we discuss this so that people know how the occult works, because there is a very dark looming prophecy spoken over Kamala Harris, written in the stars, and it is very important to understand. Now, before you leave, I would like to point out this. This is the Andromeda Galaxy, and there is two distinctive points on this Andromeda Galaxy. The top star that is referred to as Olamak, and the bottom star that is referred to as Alpheratz or Syrah, which is why it's very fascinating on this constellation that the name Amalek is Kamala backwards, and Syrah is Harris backwards. Now, what do you think the odds of that are? This is the Andromeda Galaxy, written in the stars. This is referred to as the chained woman. In Greek mythology, Andromeda was the chained woman that was given as a sacrifice to the beast to be eaten. So if Kamala Harris, by some wicked twisting of elections, does become the leader of the United States, what do you think that means for us? You see, it's interesting why her name is Kamala Devi Harris. Now, in the occult, they like to name things, and they tend to put their names on things in some way, misspelled, backwards, flipped around. Devi is the Hindu term for goddess. It's also where we get the words like diva or devil. Kamala Devil Harris. Let alone Harris backwards means an inferior person, probably not the best term to be associated with. Now let's talk about Kamala Harris's sister, Maya Harris, whose name, by the way, means magic, illusion, or deception. Fitting, since she was an advisor to Hillary Clinton. She's also one of Kamala Harris's most closest advisors, but more interesting than that, she happens to be listed on the WikiLeaks articles related to Pizzagate. For those of you that don't know what Pizzagate is, I would highly suggest you go to BitChute, type in Mouthy Buddha, and watch these 6 videos here. Now, the real Mouthy Buddha was likely killed for posting these videos, and the last 10 videos that he posted were clearly false videos with a voiceover mimicking the way he speaks. Just read the comments, everyone is already aware of it. But watching those 6 videos is one of the most well put together explanations of the Pizzagate scandal, involving human sacrifice of children. And Maya Harris is listed on those emails. Another interesting connection to Kamala Harris is her relationship with Alex Soros, the son of George Soros. And for those that don't know, George Soros is known for destabilizing countries, causing havoc, selling out his own people to the Nazis, and talking about it on an interview.
My understanding is that you went out with this protector of yours who swore that you were his adopted godson.
Yes.
Went out, in fact, and helped in the confiscation of property from the Jews.
That's right. Yes.
I mean, that sounds like an experience that would send lots of people to the psychiatric couch for many, many years. Was it difficult?
Not at all.
Which George Soros am I talking to now? The amoral George Soros or the moral George Soros?
It's one person. It's one person who at one time engages in amoral activities and at the rest of the time tries to be moral.
Now, Alex Soros, son of George Soros, is married to Huma Abedin. Yes, Abedin, like Abaddon in the Bible, the meaning destruction, Apollyon, the destroyer in Revelation. Alex Soros is married to this woman who was also an advisor on Hillary Clinton and was previously married to a man named Anthony Weiner, also involved in the Pizzagate scandal. And if you have not heard about the Anthony Weiner laptop, you should look it up. It is very, very disturbing.
And they didn't look at a fraction of the emails on Anthony Weiner's laptop. So one of the things, if I were the president, I'd do is demand the Anthony Weiner laptop and get it to the most trusted person in the military to take apart everything on it and then start using it. There's a lot that can be prosecuted, I have no doubt, on that laptop. In fact, I heard that the New York police officers who saw some of it, even though they're hardened investigators, literally had to go throw up. It's bad. 675,000 Clinton emails when they got Anthony Weiner's laptop in a search warrant because of all his sex perversion issues. It was all the Clinton emails, the Clinton Foundation, her Secretary of State emails, Huma Abedin's emails. Lots of people emailed Huma as a proxy for Hillary.
When you're in the occult, you have to do many things that you don't want to do, like participating in a relationship with Montel Williams, who was also a member of the occult. And in the occult, to gain power, you often have to sacrifice somebody that you love dearly. In 2009, Kamala Harris was an inspiration for a movie. And in fact, in 2009, the actress in the film quoted, "having fun at a fancy event with a woman who they say could be the US president, Kamala Harris." Many are saying that this tweet was prophetic. I say it's occultic, because it's part of the plan. And see, now it makes sense why in 2015, an aide of Kamala Harris was accused of running an occult police force claiming to be over 3,000 years old. This was a Masonic false police force, supposedly. It's a very interesting story. You should look up all the details. This was an aide to Kamala Harris. What makes you think Kamala is not more involved than her own aide?
The thing about Kamala Harris is just a few years ago in the Democratic primary for the 2020 election, she was on the ballot and she finished so poorly that she was so far away from the top 4, the televisions weren't even including her in the graphics.
You see, when the propaganda machine wasn't focused on giving her those false numbers, the real numbers stood out, which is why Kamala Harris was not elected. She was selected to be the sacrificial Andromeda sacrificed to the beast, to sacrifice the United States. You see, the controlling elites of the occult above don't care about your country. They don't have borders that they go by. Like, they could care less. The countries to them are just places where they can siphon money and resources and children from. That's why they create wars and chaos. Wars and chaos allow them to take resources and children,
triggering a financial crisis that plunged much of Asia into a depression.
In the last 2 years, you've been blamed for financial collapse of Thailand, Malaysia, Indonesia, Japan, and Russia.
All of the above.
All of the above.
Yeah.
They don't care about your borders. They don't care about your country. To them, the United States is a ripe apple ready to be plucked. And they've been plucking the orchard the last 4 years. So if you would like to see the United States be saved and not the whole world plummet into some totalitarian elite control mechanism, I would highly suggest you not vote for Kamala Harris. Don't buy into the propaganda machine where you actually think Kamala Harris is a good option, to the point where she has to put on concerts with Meg the Stallion just to get crowds to show up at her event, or have the media companies start false rumors, telling people at the DNC that Beyonce is going to show up and do a performance, only to find out, oh, it was a rumor and it's not true. That's why they're trying to allow illegal people the ability to vote. You see, they can only cheat so much. They need you to believe that the cheat is valid. They need you to assume that there's enough people that are voting for her so that you don't recognize how completely ridiculous this show is. Kamala Harris is already in office. If she had any promises that she was going to do, it would already be done. And your groceries wouldn't be over 150% the cost that they were just 4 years ago. That's why there's no platform promises on her website. She runs completely on a campaign of hating Trump. It's ridiculous. If you genuinely think Harris is a good candidate, you are under a hypnotic spell. They are putting people under a spell. This is how they are getting people. They want you to believe in this false ideology that Trump is not clearly the better candidate, who is not a part of the occultic system. Despite all the questionable things Trump has been involved in and the stupidity of him pushing the vaccine ignorantly, he's been manipulated by the occult, but he's not a part of the occult. There is a very big difference. So if you want America to survive, and if you want the world to continue to operate in some form of peace, I would highly advise you do not elect the chained woman Andromeda, Kamala Harris, to the sacrificial podium that will doom the rest of this country.